Secret Santa, a romance short story by Zakira Shure. Zoe's paintbrush hovered over the canvas, her thoughts lost in the vibrant strokes of color she'd been applying for hours. She loved how each painting became a piece of her soul, a story told through colors and textures. Art was more than just a passion, it was her way of expressing the things words couldn't. And with the holiday season upon her, Zoe had big plans for her work. Her friend Oliver had invited her to the gym's Christmas party, where she would showcase her latest pieces, and she was determined to make a splash. She smiled to herself thinking of Oliver. They had met at the gym a few months ago when she collided with him while texting in the hallway. Her head down and distracted, she hadn't seen him walking out of the men's locker room, and the collision sent her phone flying out of her hand. "Careful," Oliver had teased, flashing her a mischievous grin. "If you're not careful, you might end up falling in love somewhere." Zoe had laughed, brushing herself off. He was charming, easygoing, quick-witted, and somehow always knew how to make people feel seen. After that awkward first meeting, they bumped into each other more often, each encounter filled with friendly banter. Over time, their casual gym chats evolved into long conversations about their dreams, their lives, and their growing friendship. But Zoe knew somewhere deep down that she wanted more. She wasn't sure when it had happened, but somehow along the way, her crush on Oliver had become undeniable. She tried to push it aside. After all, they were friends, nothing more. And yet, when the gym's annual Christmas party rolled around and the Secret Santa sign-up sheet was posted, Zoe found herself hoping, maybe praying, that her Secret Santa wasn't Oliver. She feared the awkwardness it might bring to their friendship. The day of the drawing, and despite her best efforts to keep her heart in check, Zoe found herself with Oliver's name in her hand. She froze for a moment, staring at the slip of paper before slipping it into her pocket. She felt a pang of excitement, no, of something deeper, but quickly dismissed it. This was her chance to show him just how well she knew him, how thoughtful she could be. She couldn't mess this up. The more she thought about it, the more she realized she wanted to make this gift meaningful. Yet Zoe also didn't want to risk making their friendship complicated. What if he didn't feel the same way? What if this changed everything? Oliver, on the other hand, couldn't have been more excited about Secret Santa. He was the kind of guy who loved giving, never caring about the gifts he might receive in return. When Zoe had spoken about how important it was to give a thoughtful gift, he had taken it to heart. This year, he promised himself that he was going to go all out. His excitement was palpable, and Zoe couldn't help but admire his generosity. That more than anything was one of the reasons she had fallen for him. As the day of the party approached, Zoe amused herself with preparing for the holiday event. Her art pieces were carefully curated, and she couldn't wait to see them hanging at the gym. She just hoped Oliver would notice. He had been so supportive of her work, even going so far as to ask the gym manager if her paintings could be displayed at the party. It was a sweet gesture, one that made Zoe's heart flutter every time she thought about it. But still, she held back. She wasn't ready to risk their friendship just yet. The night of the party arrived, and Zoe found herself buzzing with nervous energy. She spent the evening mingling, feeling proud of her artwork as people inquired about the price and the story behind each piece. But something was missing: Oliver. Zoe hadn't seen him all night. She scanned the crowd, hoping for a glimpse of his familiar smile, but he was nowhere to be found. Was he avoiding her? She couldn't understand it. Maybe he had been busy, but something felt off. When the time came for the Secret Santa exchange, Zoe still hadn't heard from him. Everyone gathered in the lounge area, eagerly waiting to give and receive their gifts. Zoe's stomach churned. Where was he? That's when the guy at the front desk approached her with a folded note. "This came for you," he said, handing it over with a puzzled look. "It says your gift is waiting for you on the rooftop. It's too big to fit in here with all the people." Confused and a little nervous, Zoe looked at the note. Her heart began to race. Without thinking, she turned and headed towards the elevator, her mind racing with possibilities. She stepped out onto the rooftop, her eyes scanning the area, and then she froze. Every painting she had created for the party, each one framed and beautiful, was displayed along the rooftop, bathed in soft, twinkling lights. The art, her art, was now all around her, but Zoe's gaze quickly shifted upward and she saw him, Oliver, standing there smiling at her like he had been waiting for this moment for ages. He was everything she ever wanted, kind, thoughtful, and now undeniably, completely, and utterly perfect. Oliver, I've been looking for you all night, Zoe said, her voice barely a whisper. She stepped forward, his eyes meeting hers, and smiled that smile, the one that always made her heart flutter. And I've been looking for you all my adult life, he said softly, his voice filled with sincerity. Zoe blinked in surprise. What? What is all of this? Oliver took her hand, leading her towards an igloo-shaped structure on the rooftop, lit with fairy lights and decorated for a romantic dinner. It's a gift, he said, his smile never fading. But I hope it's more than just a gift. I'm hoping it's the start of forever. Zoe's heart swelled in her chest, and the pieces of their relationship clicked into place. She had known for a long time that something was there, something deeper than just friendship. But now, standing with him on this rooftop, surrounded by her paintings, she understood that he felt the same way. You've always been so thoughtful, Oliver, Zoe whispered, the words finally spilling from her heart. But I never thought. He gently cupped her face, tilting her chin up so that their eyes met. You didn't think I felt the same way? Zoe shook her head, her voice faltering. I didn't know if I should risk it. You should have, he said, pulling her closer, because I've been wanting this from the moment I met you. And in that moment, with the soft winter air around them and the quiet beauty of the rooftop, Zoe knew it was the beginning of something new, something beautiful, something real.